Well, I usually don't do these kind of videos on this channel, but I want to put this one out because I think that the Western collapse, financial, I don't know if it's going to be a total financial collapse, but I think it's going to be coming down during the Trump administration. Reason I'm saying that is because, his campaign promise was make America great again, and I know he's one guy. Even if he's 100% legit, I think he's powerless to do whatever he wants to do. And I think it's been a long-range plan where the Western nations are going to collapse. And the reason I'm saying this, not because of doom and gloom, I'm saying this because it's obvious they're planning it this way because of the debt. People that are really smart in finance and banking, sure, the debt causes the governments to constantly be on the treadmill to pay them, but they're doing so much debt that it's going to cause the currencies to default. And you're already seeing this happen in Europe. I think Italy's going to go down in tubes possibly this year, maybe. But I think it's going to happen during the Trump administration. And of course, that's going to lead to war. That's always been the age-old thing. It's not doom and gloom, it's just the facts. So right now, actually, I'm sitting in a pretty good situation. I'm probably going to get, I am right now getting the funds together for getting some land up in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee near the border of North Carolina. That's probably a pretty good bet. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be up there all the time, but I might be up there within a couple of years. I don't think anything's going to happen real soon, but the warnings of global conflict are going to be preceded by an economic calamity in the West. And another interesting tidbit is that in the West, all the markets globally, not just in the West, are at or near, just about 95% of the markets out there are at or near all-time highs, which means it's you got ebb and flow, when things go up too damn high, and there's nothing really to support that because you're looking at the Baltic Dry Index and all that, and usually I put these kind of videos out on the other channel, but I want to mention it here. That's kind of the purpose of this Russian-American or American-Russian survival channel, Russian-American survival channel, because it's going to come down to you, the individual, to fix things. Don't count on your government. The first thing the government's going to do here in the United States, if there's a major problem, is probably try to disarm the people, which I'm like, screw that. But my contention is, I think the United States and Russia ought to get together and just rule the damn world. And there's problems coming out from the Middle East, and I know 9/11 was a setup. I know the bombing of the building or the fire or whatever it was with the Chechen rebels, and Putin went after them. Later, I know that was a setup too. Good cause. They don't need to set it up. I mean, I already know they're the enemy. You don't need to freaking tell me and prove it to me. That's how I look at it. But we got a common cause. That's what I look at it as. We have a common cause. And, I gotta tell you, I don't think anything, well, to tell you the truth, I know that the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, didn't fall apart the way the major media says it did, And they know this because a lot of the former communists, they weren't just taken out and hung and killed. They just became capitalists. There was no real, revolution per se. And even Lech Wałęsa in Poland, I knew he was being brought in there to the protests by, the actual government itself. It was the communist government. I knew this from Zdzisław Rarez, who was the former Polish ambassador from Poland to Japan, and he defected in 1981. I mean, this is all proven, man. It's like, but the major media ignores this because the dissolution of the Soviet Union was actually in coordination with the Western powers too. That's really why I'm really putting this channel on. It's not so much for the elitists. I think the American people and the Russian people ought to get together and throw out all the elitists everywhere. To hell with them. We don't need them. It's like an old expression, you know, the more power they got, the worse they are. It's like Lord Acton says, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, that's true across the board, no matter where it is, whether it's in Russia, whether it's the United States, it don't matter. That's exactly human nature. People get too much power, it goes right to their head. Trump, Trump's got an ego. Mr. Putin's got an ego too. They both got egos. But they're both a hell of a lot better than Hillary Clinton or Obama. I'll tell you that right now, both of them. So, I think though that, but you know, one thing I'm going to figure out with Trump real soon is if Hillary Clinton is still walking outside in the public and not either in jail or, you know, disposed of by the legal system, by, you know, even by next year, I'm going to say he's more hot air than action, because that lady's blatantly freaking corrupt. She's an absolute traitor. I didn't like Obama; he was an absolute traitor. But you know, I don't like a lot of these presidents, man. I don't like the Bush. Ronnie Reagan made a lot of cute speeches, but he wasn't so damn conservative. The only good guy we had recently, in recent many decades, was JFK, and you know what happened to him. So, and, but you know, honestly, if you're Russian and you're watching this, I'm going to say the West and the Russian leaders, they've been working together. Putin's a little bit different in some ways because he wants things on his terms, but he works with the West too. It's a shame, man. I wish there really was an independent leader someplace. There isn't any. You know, I think Americans are putting way too much faith in this Trump guy. I think we ought to be putting, instead of make America great, we ought to be putting, don't tread on me. You know? Individual liberties to the max. And, but anyway, I just want to tell you that I think stuff coming up is going to be, I think it's going to definitely, because the communist liberal media, and I don't want to call them liberal, they're communist media in the United States, the big guys, it's pretty obvious with Trump's campaign promise, make America great again. I think the people that really pull the levers behind the economy, which already it is really bad. I mean, the PE ratios on the stocks, on the equities are ridiculously high. And they're gonna pull the plug, man, and they're gonna pull the plug in such a way that they're gonna make the numbers look as bad as possible. Like, I know the economy actually has been faltering under Obama, but they've been fudging the numbers. Like, they'll say all these people are employed, but a lot of people that maybe used to be engineers or stockbrokers, or I don't know, they're in Lowe's doing some work in Lowe's or Home Depot or some crap like that. They don't have jobs like they used to have. They're employed, quote unquote. Now me, I'm doing this actually more out of the goodness in my heart. But really, what really motivates me is not so much the goodness out of my heart, is this. I hate the major media in this country. You're a bunch of damn communists in the United States. And I know that me being a voice on YouTube is a thorn in their side. And I know the powers in YouTube and Google are trying to squeeze the shit out of the little guys in all kinds of ways. Especially if you say something they don't like, you know, well, they pull the ads, but then, you know, they got other things where they don't get the video around as easy, you know. I think they do that kind of shit, I'm pretty sure of it. But the real motivation for me being on here is not financial. Financially, crap, man. You know what? I do accounting. When I was at the CPA firm, my billing rate, not the rate I got, but my billing rate was $150. But I got about a third of that, right? And I tell you, even this stuff, I'm not a mechanic, but I could probably work on cars and pull in a hell of a lot more money than I'm doing on this. But I don't do that, because I'm doing this because I want to be a thorn in his side to the jackasses that are freaking wrecking this country, the United States. That's why I'm really on here, more than anything. So I throw in some tips every once in a while and all kinds of crap, and hopefully some things to save you some money. Right now, what I'm actually doing right now with at this very second is I'm making some colloidal silver. That's a very I have some videos on that, but that's a very, very smart thing to do, and make stores of that quite a bit and take some of that every day. That's a very, very powerful antimicrobial that's very safe. And it's something that also helps the body to produce stem cells. And you know, that's one of the theories of longevity. If your body can produce all the stem cells that you need, you know, you're probably going to live hundreds of years old. Now, I don't know if the colloidal silver is going to do that, but I think it's going to help a little bit. But you know, there's a lot of different things that you can get into for survival and without having the big bucks. Like if you look up in northern Siberia, and it's also in Maine, USA, the state of Maine, and also in Alaska, you got that fungus that grows on the trees called chaga. Totally very nutrient rich. It's got the sod in it. It's called SOD, superoxidase damuse, whatever it is. Very powerful antioxidants in it. And people up in that use that, like up in northern Siberia, they live a very long time. Far more so than the best medical doctors do down here in the United States. With all their freaking millions of dollars they charge of people for their crappy medical services. So sometimes the simple things work much better. Simple thing is the colloidal silver. But I'm pretty much 100% sure, and I'm also reading the tea leaves per se with some of the other silver channels. The shills are coming out about the collapse. The Federal Reserve is going to fall apart. You know, nothing's ever going to really fall apart, but we're going to see a downturn in the economy, and I think it's all planned, especially to freaking put mud on Trump. But when that happens, and if it's really bad, it's probably going to lead to worldwide conflict. So better start thinking about survival stuff to the max, and any little thing you do is better than nothing. I don't care if you're storing up batteries, food, water, buying a little bullshit solar panel here and there to charge something up, fine. You know, radios, weather radios, shortwave radios, saws, knives, axes, tools, whatever, fine. Anything you do counts. I think one of the biggest problems is Americans have totally lost that toughness. I mean, I know me, I don't buy any kind of Pokemon Go freaking bullshit that I see all the time on it. You know, the major media, everybody's obsessed with this stupid game. I'm like, I don't do that. Just right now I had to buy some impact sockets because I was missing a 15 millimeter long, deep impact socket that I was working on one of my cars with, and I needed it, and I was surprised I got all these damn sockets. I was missing that one. But I'll buy something like that rather than go buy some la BS, that a lot of people do, whether it's electronic, it's some plastic bull crap that you show off to people or whatever. But I'll buy these flags though sometimes because I know that pisses off the liberals or the communists in the United States. I tell you the truth, the communists in the United States, which are often referred to as the liberals, I got absolutely no respect for them. I actually have far more respect for the old-time communists in the old Soviet Union, because at least they had strong discipline. I respect anybody who's got discipline. And people are going to need a lot of discipline for what's going to be coming down, because I think it's not the end. It's not like, the worst. But, this has been happening all throughout history. You got ups and downs. We got a society that is so dumbed down with superfluous garbage here in the United States, and I think a lot of that's deliberate, is that it's gonna come home where it's gonna be a major problem. And I know these type of channels where you're talking about, I know a lot of times with survival channels, they're talking about, I'm going out in the woods and I'm going to be cutting some logs and making a house. I tell you the truth, that's not going to be really practical in an everyday civilized world, because in the civilized world, you really got to be survival, where you have, buckets of different freaking carpenter screws on hand, You got drill bits on hand, methods to freaking sharpen them, ways to charge up those batteries with solar for your hand tools, and you could build all kinds of stuff. And you're going to stay, bugging out is probably not going to be the deal. It's going to be bugging in, versus getting up and going someplace, because for the most part, where the hell are you going to go, right? Just make sure you're in a place that's good to go in the first place. One of the reasons where I am right now is not too bad, but it's gotten more crowded, a lot more crowded over the last 20 years. It's much more so. It would have been great right now if it had the same population the way it was 20 years ago, but the population in this area has picked up exponentially, and I'm not cool on that. So I might eventually be, a couple years from now, up in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Tennessee, and that might be a true survival area for me. But as far as, what you need to do is you need to actually stay put, but make sure you choose a place to stay put that's good. Because, it's unrealistic to think you're just going to grab a backpack or throw some crap in your car and drive someplace, especially if there's that, because the roadways are going to be where all the authorities are, and then you get in places where you're not familiar with. It's unrealistic. But I think that the time of Trump, just to sum it up again, the time of Trump, during his administration, we're going to see probably, I don't want to, not being a doom and gloom here, but I'm looking at the reality, the game plan of the jackasses behind the scenes. We're going to see a depression worse than the Great Depression that happened in the 1930s. It's going to start during his administration, and he might be a one-term president due to that reason. I don't know who the hell they would choose after that. I mean, it could be Oprah, for crying out loud, or Roseanne Barr. The way the freaking American people are, they vote for anybody because it's they want to show how liberal they are. I don't want to say too much more about that, because I really think the only thing those kind of people are good for is actually a food source, but that's, maybe saying too much on here, but but anyway, over and out. That's all I gotta say. So just beware. Shit's coming down. I'm 100% sure of it. And Make America Great is going to be what the powers that be are going to be attacking, and they're going to succeed, because unless Trump takes all these jackasses out and lines them up against the wall and freaking waste them, you know what I mean? That's the only way he's going to freaking win out. I'll help him with that. No problem. Anyway, over and out.